With Tyrus podcast, New York Giants legend Lawrence Taylor had a message for Micah Parsons saying, quote, "He's a great player, but guys, let's do more. Let's play more football and less podcasts." Mad Dog.
You want me to go first?
Of course I do.
I think you know what angle I'm going to take, right, Lewis?
Where are you going with LT?
Oh, LT is 1,000% right. I mean, first off, he's the best. LT, Jerry Rice, and Peyton are the three best players. Lewis, I'm a little older.
Go ahead.
They're the three best players I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if you rank anybody, any list that you do top 10 in football, let's take the quarterbacks out of it. Those three got to be in the mix.
Yeah.
I think.
Did you repeat that, Doggy? I didn't hear
Rice,
LT. I only heard you said
Rice,
LT.
LT, and Walter Payton. Those are the three best players I've ever seen, especially at their positions. So if LT wants to say something, he can say something. I guess
You're saying you respect his opinion.
And go ask Belichick how great LT was.
Yeah.
And he played hurt. But LT comes from a different period. He comes from a period where you listened to what Bill Parcells told you, and you showed up and played football no matter what the physicality was that week. And then at the end of the week, you didn't go out there and do podcasts and spend all this time on social media. Now, that's not to say if he played today, he wouldn't do it.
Yep.
But in his era, they didn't have the opportunity to do it. So when LT hears comparisons to Parsons and sees the Cowboys can't stop anybody in big situations, as you know, in postseasons, they've had a lot of trouble. Green Bay, 48 points, the whole bit. He's going to raise a hundred now. You're comparing him to me? And his team never does anything in the postseason, and he does podcasts. So I am all for Mr. Redick, Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, look, your respect for Lawrence Taylor is like very similar to mine. Like I saw this guy for the very first time in person. I believe I was a sophomore in college. They used to go up to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and they used to scrimmage the Jets at Lehigh in their stadium and have inter-squad scrimmages. And those were days where you could just get tickets, walk down on the field, and the guys coming off the buses coming on the field.
And this is in August.
So this is in August, and I see the Giants are coming in. I'm a sophomore in college, so I've been playing football a little bit, but still I'm going, man, this is freaking LT is about to come in here. And as he's coming in, I'm trying to get my program stuff because I want him to sign it. But I got so damn nervous and started fumbling everything around. He walked right past me. And all I could do was just sit there with my jaw dropped open watching him go by. And I saw this dude sit down on the field after he had warmed up, didn't have his pads on, didn't have his helmet on, was sitting on his helmet. They're going through one-on-ones. And everyone's going through, and Parcells walks over to him, whispers something in his ear, probably to tell him, hey, LT, can you take a rep? Puts his helmet on, comes out, calls out Jumbo Elliott, whoops him, runs him over, and goes back down, sits on his helmet, sits there the rest of practice. He is, without a doubt, the number one player for me in the history of the National Football League. He played 35, 40 years ago. He could play now. He would get 20, 30 sacks now because teams throw the ball as much as they do. LT is the baddest dude to ever play the game, period, regardless of position. So he can say whatever he wants. That being said, there's a lot of players in the NFL right now who have podcasts, who have a huge social media presence, and not just in the NFL, but across all sports, who are able to balance the world, the way in which people communicate now with trying to be great players and trying to be transcendent players who still respect guys like LT, who want to have the same kind of career as LT. But I understand where he's coming from as far as saying, look, I played the game to win championships. I played the game to be considered one of the greatest of all time. And really, there were no distractions for him then in terms of social media. But also think about this, too, when you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Where does that culture come from of trying to, be more than just a player? From the day the players are in there, their whole world is split between not only just playing football, but trying to set themselves up for life after football. These guys get opportunities simply because of the fact that they're Dallas Cowboys that a lot of players from other teams don't get. They get covered on our airways more than any player on any other players on any other team by far. I don't blame Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is one of the hardest playing football players on that football team. And the reason why they're not winning has nothing to do with Micah Parsons. There's a lot more other issues. But look, LT, hey, man, I got nothing to say. That is a bad dude in every way.
LT is the greatest football player who ever lived. When you look at him, and he has 132 and a half career sacks, Lewis, Doggy. Do you realize that that doesn't even include the 9.5 sacks he had in 1981 because the sack didn't become an official statistic until 1982. So it's actually 140 sacks, 141 sacks that this brother has in his NFL career. That's number one. Number two, I'm just looking at this right here. 9 times he was named an All-Pro the first 9 seasons. Micah Parsons has been in the NFL for 4 years. He's been a Pro Bowler all 4 years. So when I saw LT say this, I took it a little bit differently. I took it, doggy, as him saying, "You're special, young man. I see something in you.
Yep.
And I'm telling you right now, here's what I need you to do in order for you to catapult." Because you got to remember, in LT's first 10 years, they went to the playoffs 6 times. They won 2 Super Bowls. You're talking about Micah Parsons is struggling to win a playoff game. He's saying, we know what you are. I need more from that team of yours. And the way to get it might be you sacrificing some stuff on a personal level in order to get your team where it needs to be. That's that's what I took from what LT said. Now to piggyback on top of what Redick said, I thought it's very important. I want everybody to understand, even though there's far too many that run their damn mouths, don't tell a whole story, don't know what the hell they're talking about, don't engage in any kind of journalism whatsoever, and they're ready to pop mess about somebody all the damn time. I wholeheartedly support these players maximizing whatever off-field potential is out there for them. Because we've seen too many former football players still dependent on a league, dependent on the Retired Players Association, hoping collective bargaining agreements will sway some funds their way, all of this other stuff. We see guys that play football that are barely able to walk. Okay, we see a lot of stuff. And you see what the game costs you as it pertains to your life moving forward. And if you are a player and you have an opportunity to secure the bag for years and years to come beyond your days of playing, it's something that we have to support. It's not only something that we should support, it's something that we have to support. We owe it to them. Where would we be? Where would I be if we wasn't talking sports? Where would you be, dog, if we weren't talking? Somebody gives they play a significant role in giving us something to talk about. They're not the only ones like they'd like to believe. GMs, coaches, owners, etc. They all make a contribution. But in the end, they play the game. And what they do for us, we owe it to them to support them having those platforms. That's one of the reasons, doggy, you'll see me. Most people in my position ain't going to sit up there and do a bunch of interviews with podcasts and stuff like that. But these guys always call. And when they call, I come. Why do I come? Because I feel I owe it to them. Because I talk about them. Why can't they talk to me on their platform in a fashion that will benefit them, especially financially? We owe it to them to support them doing that, because of the sacrifices that they make, and most importantly, because of a society that has proven we can't count on them to take care of these players when their days are done. We owe it to them to support them in that regard.
Yeah, I think, Stephen, you make a great point. You used a great word because of the sacrifices that they make. Look, the players in LT's era, the players in the era that I played in, these guys made the ultimate sacrifices. These guys were true warriors, and I can tell you this. Look, I played with Carl Banks towards the end of his career, and Carl used to tell me the stories of how it was with LT at the Giants. And Pepper Johnson, I played with him too. These are my dudes. So, look, you're right. These guys do make sacrifices. They absolutely do. And I don't begrudge any of the players right now from trying to maximize their potential, maximize their popularity, and hopefully parlay that into a second career or a continuing career that allows them to live in some form or fashion of comfort and security well beyond their playing days. And look, if they